What's going on, everyone? So there's been a lot of talk I've seen lately about the Lakers having a lot of pressure. Lakers have a lot of pressure on them to go and deliver and win an NBA championship this year. And to an extent, I get it, right? Like you look at this roster, they're deep, they're talented, they're big, they're versatile. You got LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the same team. You got Darvin Ham, who's in a second year, so he should be better. He has a lot to prove, right? Can he win as a head coach? I know a lot of people feel a certain way about Darvin Ham. I've been very defensive of Darvin Ham. You don't get to the Western Conference Finals with essentially two different rosters and a team that played 8 games together going into the playoffs if you don't have good coaching. I mean, he thoroughly outcoached guys like Steve Kerr. Like, the guy did great given the circumstances he was in. But this year, he's going to have a full training camp, a full offseason. He's going to have this full roster together, right? He has the depth, the talent. He's going to definitely have his work out for him, right? He's got to figure out, different sets, different lineups. I imagine there's going to be some level of experimentation early on in the season because that's when you kind of do it before you get to that back half of the season where you really lock in, get your playoff rotation ready, and start making that push for the seeding, and then as well as, kind of getting everything locked in for the playoffs. That I fully expect. I expect that to go. But outside of that, I don't really think that there's much pressure on the Lakers that is unusual, right? I mean, Lakers always have pressure because it's the Lakers. It's championship or bust, right? If you don't win a championship, you didn't do anything, right? We don't play for, Western Conference Finals, right? It was nice that the Lakers were able to turn a 2-10 season and make it a Western Conference Finals. Look, I celebrated it when they made it. I've talked about how, what an accomplishment it was and stuff like that, but we're not these other poverty level teams, right? We are the teams that aren't in it for just making dollars as a franchise. No, we want to win. The fan base expects it. We're in an arms race right now with the Boston Celtics to win number 18 and break that tiebreaker for the all-time winningest team in NBA history. This is something that needs to get done. Celtics could very easily win it this year. Right? We could very well have a Celtics-Lakers finals this year. But beyond the usual, like, championship or bust, Lakers need to win, I don't really see any other pressure. I don't think that there's more pressure on the Lakers than any other team, right? That's a real contender. Is there more pressure on the Lakers than like the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis and his contract extension that is looming? And he's having talks about like, hey, if it looks like we can win, absolutely I'll extend. But if not, is there any more pressure than like the Sixers who are completely imploding and James Harden, he wants out and it's an absolute mess. And Joel Embiid, is he going to end up leaving, right? And if they don't eventually get to the point of winning an NBA championship, they're going to lose Joel Embiid, who's their franchise guy. Right? Like, the Lakers have Anthony Davis locked up long term. LeBron James, as long as LeBron feels like he can win an NBA championship with this roster, he's going to stick around. He's not going to leave. Right? And even if he does, you still have a talented enough roster to where you may be able to still contend and compete. And if not, you're the Los Angeles Lakers. You're going to get another star. Somebody else is going to look at this and go, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Shafino, Gabe Vincent, Maxwell Lewis, Max Christie, like, okay, sign me up, right? Like, I'm the missing, like, we can go win a couple championships, let's get it, right? And that's not even counting if a Rui Hachimura takes that next step, or, an Austin Reeves continues to grow and develop and kind of takes that next step, or Max Christie becomes the next big thing, which the Lakers seem really high and possible that could happen, right? Like, I think the Lakers, if anything, should feel very comfortable. There's always a level of pressure as a championship contender. And there's always going to be that level of pressure on LeBron and Anthony Davis's shoulders because they are these stars. They are two top 10 players. They are two guys that are expected to win an NBA championship, right? When they came together on the Lakers, the thought process wasn't them winning just one NBA championship. It was like they should win several. Right? You're talking about arguably, if not the greatest player of all time, and the third on most, if Anthony Davis plays the level that he can play, in my opinion, he's the best center in the entire league, right? Because there's nobody else that could do what he can do on both sides of the basketball to the level in which he could do that. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that talk about the pressure of every LeBron James led team has a level of pressure because the expectations is to win a championship, right? LeBron is about his legacy. He's about winning, right? There is the pressure. There are the eyeballs on LeBron James in the sense of like, he's in year 21. He's 30. He's going to be 39, right? Like, what's going to happen here, right? Is he going to start falling off? Is he going to start declining? What's going to end up happening, right? There is the pressure on Anthony Davis of like, dude, this is your chance to be MVP level. You're supposed to be taking the reins. Like, you're supposed to be the guy, right? You just got the bag. You're going to be the number one option post LeBron James. Like, it's your time to shine here, buddy. Like, come on. Like, there's been the constant talks about, like, is he a number one guy? Is he the guy that you can win a championship with as your best player? Like, all of that. Like, there is levels of pressure, absolutely. But all stars face that. You don't think Giannis has pressure? You don't think Jokic has pressure? You don't think Embiid has pressure? You don't, like, all the top players in the league have that same level of pressure of like, you need to deliver, right? Joel Embiid, you won the MVP, man. Like, come on, dude. You've been disappearing in the playoffs. What's going on? You're supposed to be best center in the league. What happened? There was that same question marks and that same issues with Jokic before he won this championship this year. And you don't think that, like, there's pressure on him to kind of have that same level of performance, win another championship? You think he only wants to win one championship for the rest of his career? Of course not. There's always going to be these levels of pressure on organizations that are contending for a championship. There's no pressure on a team like Detroit, right? Like OKC last year, there was no pressure on OKC. So, like, when they really emerged and they were like looking like a team that could really push and threaten, it was like, oh, watch out, right? Like, there's a handful of teams every year that there is just an insurmountable amount of pressure on them because they are expected to win. The Warriors. You don't think the Warriors have a world of pressure? Is Chris Paul gonna work? You know, like, is Steph's only getting older? What's going on? Is Klay Thompson still that guy? Or is it time to start unloading him? Draymond, like, where are you at, dude? Right? Like, all of this. Like, of course there is this pressure on these teams. So what happens when you have a great team that is capable of winning an NBA championship? Boston Celtics. You know, if anything, I think there's more pressure on the Celtics, right? Because all the talk, Jaylen Brown just got the extension. He got that max extension. All the talks about, can Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum work? Or are they two similar players? Is it not going to work? You just got Kristaps Porzingis. You trade away Marcus Smart. What are you doing? Like, you don't think that there's all that pressure? Joe Mazzulla. You know, what's going on? Is he the coach? Is he the guy? What's going on? Like, again, there is all this pressure on all these elite organizations because they have the expectations of championships, right? Like, you know, if the Lakers go get Christian Wood, I think that would add another level of pressure, right? Same thing as if, like, you know, Miami. If Miami goes and gets Damian Lillard, that adds that much more pressure. Because, like, last year, nobody expected Miami to make the NBA Finals. Nobody expected Miami to make the conference. Maybe Miami fans did, but especially after they lost that first play-in game, you think everyone thought they were cooked. Do you really think Miami would have beaten Milwaukee if Giannis was fully healthy? No, I don't. Right? If you had a full healthy Giannis, Miami's not beaten. Right? But once they beat Miami, they were playing, or once they beat Milwaukee, Miami was playing with house money. All that pressure's gone. There is no, the expectations are gone. They're the underdog. Right? That's why the underdog mentality is there. The Lakers, they're not the underdog. Right? Like, even the Lakers last year, there wasn't that expectation. They started the season 2-10. Right? Like, you know, what's going on? They just got an entirely new roster. The Lakers aren't going anywhere. They're not doing anything. All of a sudden, they just beat Memphis. They just beat the Warriors. Warriors have never lost. Right? Like, oh my God. Like, no one's ever beaten the Warriors fully healthy. What happened? And then they got to Denver. And Denver they were the better team. They got it done and they won. It was their year. Right? Well, now there is that level of pressure to an extent. Because it's like, okay, like, that mystery of, are the Lakers good? It's gone. We know the Lakers are good. We know the Lakers are going to be good. We know that they're probably going to be one of the better teams. Probably going to be the best defensive team in the league. Probably be top 5 to 7 offense. Right? So they are one of the teams that should be contending for an NBA championship. If they go get Christian Wood, I think that adds a little more level. You know, some people might think otherwise, but no, like Christian Wood is like the premier guy right now, right? And he's a 17-7 guy. You're adding another guy that could be an all-star level type player. Right? Like 17-7 is nothing to laugh at, nothing to sneeze at. The guy averages like 2 blocks a game. Like, I understand he has all his issues, all his questions, all the concerns, of course. But there's no denying his talent. He's not struggling for a roster because he's not talented. Struggling for a roster because of all the just perception that he has and the reputation he's built and the stigma that surrounds him. But if he gets there and it's working, like, there is that level of, like, you know, LeBron's got more help. Lakers got more help. They just got another 17-7 guy. But I don't think that they have pressure that's out of the ordinary. I think they've had the same pressure every year. Even though most of us didn't think the Russ thing would work, there was pressure. You got LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis. You have to make that work. You have to win a championship with that. You got 3, Hall of Famers, 3, top 75 players of all time. Right? Lakers win the championship. That year there was that pressure. The moment LeBron came to the Lakers, there was pressure. Right? Like, as soon as LeBron came to the Lakers, it was like, okay, Lakers better win a championship. And then they win the championship, and the next year, Lakers upgrade. Man, they got the 2 6-men. They just won a championship, and Rob Pelinka, he didn't stand pat. Goes gets Dennis Schroeder. He go get, Marc Gasol. You go get Montrezl Harrell. Like, oh, no way. They go get Andre Drummond, right? 2010 Andre Drummond. Oh, that's it. It's over, right? And injuries, which I do think if the Lakers didn't get injured, I think that they would have won the championship that year. But they did. They got injured. And unfortunately, things happened. But there was pressure on them then. And then when the Lakers go get Russell Westbrook and then have Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, like, you look at that roster and on paper, you're like, this is the greatest roster ever assembled. But in the reality, it's like they're all 36, right? It's also the oldest roster ever assembled. But you don't think that there was all kinds of pressure? Of course there was. Every year there's pressure on the Lakers. Like, so I don't know why there's like this, there seems to be this trend of like, oh, Lakers got all this pressure. Like, it's the same pressure that there is every year. Now, maybe individual players have certain levels of pressure, and like Austin Reeves, you can make an argument for and stuff. And I think that I might do a little like breakdown segment for each, like maybe each player on the Lakers and talk, and we'll dive into the level of pressure each one has. Not like there's a bunch of like Laker news going on right now, and I think that those would be fun conversations for us to have. But anyway, as always, with this video, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that there's pressure on the Lakers? Do you think it's more pressure? Do you think it's the same amount of pressure? Do you think there's no real pressure? Nothing out of the ordinary? Have a feel whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.